Hey, Joe Dwyer here, and welcome back to Accountability Matters. In our first session of What We Reflect, we spoke about critical areas that we need to be very conscious of where we are reflecting a consistent, positive, and peaceful image to those that we are around, as well as for ourselves, starting with ourselves. Well, in today's session, we are going to talk about the importance of leadership. And when I say that, I want everyone to remember the most important point. Everyone at some point in their life is a leader for others, whether you like it or not, and whether you believe it or not. As parents, you are leaders, how you reflect your actions. As an 8th grader, you are a leader for 7th graders. As a 12th grader, you are a leader for 11th graders, and so on. This is the way you are looked upon, and anywhere we go in life, there are opportunities for us to step into a leadership position and reflect accountable actions to others on a consistent basis. Now, leadership is very easy when things are good. Leadership is very easy when everyone follows along at a right and sensible and consistent pace. But when things get difficult, when things get contentious, when someone doesn't like maybe what you've said, when something else goes awry in any way, shape, or form, personal problems, leadership can become very difficult. And I have witnessed many times in my life where the first inclination is to run away, to get away from it. But especially if you are in an established place of leadership, and even if you are not, but mostly when you are, walking away is only going to do further damage. So the 5 issues that we covered in our first video together are very critical to the leader's mentality and what they reflect in an accountable way towards influencing others. But in this session, we are only, in light of what I've already stated, we are only going to cover one very important one. Now, you may know that I spent 30 years or more, training in martial arts. And one of my favorite posters was the word can't with a red circle around it and a red line through it. Can't is a 4-letter word, is what the poster said. I always looked at it in a very positive way when I was training myself. Well, one that I have not seen that I believe that we need to see, especially in what we reflect in any leadership capacity, is another word that starts with C. And it is a very important word to have a very strong red line through it. And that word is complaining. Complaining. You heard me. I said it twice for a reason. It needs to be emphasized extremely strong, emphatic, and empty it out of any reflection of who we are. Now, that's pretty strong, isn't it? But it's also very accurate. So I tell you, of course, about 3 dogs that have had an incredible influence on me in this important area of what we reflect as an accountable individual. The first one is my brother. Growing up, I called him my brother. He was not my dog, he was my brother. His name was Fritz, and Fritz had epilepsy from the time he was a year old. Fritz also had other health issues, some joint issues at a young age. He really had a lot to complain about, but he never did. I saw this dog have epileptic seizures get up and act as if the world was just fine. It was an inspiration to me as a young boy, and I will tell you, it was truly something to watch. Rommel, who I have spoke of, had Cushing's disease. He too, unfortunately, because of the nature of what he dealt with, he had plenty to complain about, plenty to whine or bark about in different areas of his life. And he never did. Never. Inspirational. And now there's Spartacus. And I've explained that Spartacus is getting quite old. He is having to slow down. And let me tell you one thing about this dog, since I've known him since we saved him almost 13 years ago. The last thing he wants to do in his life is to slow down. He would love to be on the move like he was 10 years ago, but he's not. Still in all, he will never utter one complaint in what he does. Let me tell you what he does. He is a people dog, if you will. He follows wherever we go in the house. So when I go upstairs to shower, he makes his way up the steps into my office next door and camps out there while I'm in the shower because he doesn't want to be far away. This is a hard thing for him to do, but he will not complain about it. When I have to pick him up and carry him down the steps, this is something he absolutely does not want. He wants to do it on his own. He will not complain. Dogs don't do complaining, and neither should we. Consider for a moment the person in education who is vociferously complaining in the halls about the schedule that they have to keep or the testing that's coming up, and the students that are hearing it. Is that reflecting something positive? Absolutely not. And it is truly a leadership characteristic, hopefully, that we will turn around. How about the employer who is open in front of their employees and others to say, oh, I just can't wait for Friday to get here, signifying that they really don't want to be in the situation they're in at that present moment? Is that the kind of complaining that is effective to reflect what we want our employees to do? Absolutely not. Consider the parent who complains about finances and anything and everything in front of their children and how we need to go on more vacations and then wonders why a student may not be as motivated. And the list goes on and on, doesn't it? It is a true difficult trap which we can all easily fall into, but we need to conquer today. For what we reflect and how we say about what we are doing in our day-to-day lives, whether we're battling a little virus or whether we're fighting through a business issue or a work issue, whatever it might be, we must reflect less complaining in our lives. And I have emphasized this as the one important area because it is the one I am working on right now, and the one I have seen is the most influential in how it's reflected to others. Dogs can lead the way on this one, big time. And this is an example probably above almost every other one I have given that we should probably heed right away, more so than any of the others. I'm not diminishing the others. I'm just saying this one has real positive ripples to it when we can conquer it. And speaking of conquering it, that's our accountability action. And I'm going to take a page out of my martial arts life for all of us to follow. For here is what we should try to do with complaining. To begin, as a beginner, a white belt, we can't take on the advanced and try to do this even in a full day. So we are going to do the first hour of the day. And once we are past the first hour of the day with no complaints, we are going to take on the second hour. And once we have conquered the second hour, we're going to take on the third hour. And we're going to keep a little notebook this time, and we're going to try to check off the days that we have conquered the absolute no complaining reflection of who we are. And once we can do that and continue to do that, you are going to see results in this area of accountability like no other. And yes, as I have said to you on almost every other, if not every session, peace will come into your heart. Productivity will go up. And as I've said, these dogs who can lead the way on teaching us how to not complain, many more of them will be saved too. I've said enough. It's time to get to work. I want to say thank you for taking on the first hour. Take it on, conquer it, and celebrate it in a positive way without one complaint. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you soon.